Linda can take the minutes afterwards. All right, so it being 4 o'clock on March 15th, I'd like to call this Gardner Elementary School Building Committee meeting to order. Dr. Hammond, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Mark Hawk, is he here yet? Michael Mayor Nicholson, no. Dr. Pellegrino,
Here.
Wayne Anderson,
Present.
Earl Martin.
Earl's just joining us, as is Mark.
Okay, got down. Okay, Mark Hawk and Earl, got them both. Okay. Kathy Gogan,
Present.
Joyce West said she could not make it. Jennifer Plavin,
Present.
Robert Schwartz,
Present.
Ron Cormier,
Present.
Christina Thomas. Yes, Ashley Chickwin, Robert Hankinson,
Present.
Heidi Gendris, Josh Cormier.
Present.
Yeah, we have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. So can we move on to, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from February 15th, 2023?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to roll call vote. Dr. Hammond?
Mark Hawk,
Yes.
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Earl Martin,
Yes.
Kathy Gogan,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes.
Robert Schwartz,
Yes.
Ron Cormier.
Yes.
I don't see Christina or Ashley has joined us yet. Robert Hankinson
Yes.
and Heidi Gendris, she's not present, and Josh Cormier.
Yes.
It is a vote, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Ayes have it, motion carries. Approval of bills and orders. Tim?
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, fortunately, a couple of things, trying to send things out, bills get approved, make sure before they approve them, make sure they're approved by Tim and so forth. So on Friday, I sent out these in blue. And then on yesterday, I sent the ones out in red here that you have here, the two different ones. And the SHI and the follow information were all in one file. So I'll read these off as we go. Colliers for December, 45,488.04. Colliers February 23, 20,535.70. MTE 21,265.20. MTE 40,739.60. Granger, there were 4,936.86 and 2,245.41. And my Pure Environment 14,458. Then we have Colliers, which was the 23rd. These three Colliers did not appear to hit, so that's why we're doing them, just to make sure they're approved. 20,447.23, that is January. SHI, the next three, 328, $359 and $51. Follett, 3,581.90. WB Mason, 775. Another WB Mason for 2,700. And then Bacon Construction, 305,317.36. That total is 483,228.30. Are there any questions?
Yes.
Yep.
May I ask a question about whether we're following all of the required purchasing requirements for items such as the equipment for the new school, referring to the tractor and snow blower and equipment like that? Is this something that we're buying because we have the money? And if it is, are we following proper procedures for purchase?
I'll let Mark and Josh answer that question.
Josh is making us follow the law.
So yeah, Bob, if I could elaborate on that, we have the funds. So yes, that's why we're buying them. We wanted to make sure we had the funds first. And yeah, Josh is making us follow the laws according to all the purchasing requirements.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the $483,228.30 of invoices for March 16th, 2023? Actually, it's the 15th, but
So moved.
So moved. Second.
thank you. Thank you. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, let's put the matter to roll call vote. Dr. Hammond?
Mark Hawk,
Yes.
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Earl Martin,
Yes.
Kathy Gogan,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes.
Robert Schwartz,
Yes.
Ron Cormier.
Yes.
Is Ashley or Christina at the meeting yet?
No.
Robert Hankinson
Yes.
and Josh Cormier.
Yes.
Thank you. It's a vote, Mr. Chairman. I will stop sharing.
Excellent. That's it for bills and orders.
Yes, it is.
Moving along to the report from the OPM. Tim, Matt?
Okay, I'll start off with just the finances that ties into what Steve was just talking about. Let me share this. This is the document we've shown throughout. Big picture is just what the MSBA is reimbursing. We just submitted a recent pro pay request, which is bringing us up to about 90. It will bring us pretty close to that 95% of the maximum grant amount from the MSBA. That's where they stop reimbursing the city until a final audit. We're not there yet, but we're getting close. So again, our overall budget was 89.5. We've approved about 75, just over 75 million. We have under contract right now just over 77.6 million. So of that 75 that's been spent, we anticipate the MSBA would characterize 56 million of that as eligible for reimbursement, and based on the district's 80% reimbursement rate, we'd be receiving just under $45 million. It's important just to talk about the various line items that make up all of this, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but we're getting down towards the end of the project, and we are wrapping things up with Bacon, and we're reduced their retainage for withholdings against the contractor for various punch list and incomplete work. There is a list of items that they're going to be working on through the spring, but the bulk of what they have remaining is going to happen over the summer. So we're trying to make sure that we have all the materials that we need, that if there's any changes or any kind of additional work that we're looking to do, that we get that proposals out for that we get prices for that, so we can review and bring that in front of you, this committee, for approval. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen this summer. People are getting really busy for the summer, and if we don't act now on items, we're going to miss that opportunity. Not that you can't continue and spend money if you have it in your budget as long as you have it, but at some point we need to wrap things up with the general contractor, because they have base scope work of activities to do, basically the playground and those sorts of things into the summer, and they'll already be on site, so we can take advantage of that. But realistically, we would like to get this committee to approve what other additional items you want to do, and then kind of draw the line and not provide any additional proposal requests to Bacon to continue activities. And again, certainly if there was something that came up that you wanted to include, you could certainly do that outside the project. You could do it with project funds, but just probably not through Bacon Construction. It would get tricky if there was something that might impact a warranty, and so we'll have to take a look at those items. But that's why we're bringing it up now, to give an opportunity to for those issues to kind of rise to the surface. And we have a number of those items. But overall, right now, we're in good shape financially. So our contingency, and I don't have it on this this item. This is where we started, not what we have left, but we're still in good shape financially on the project. We'll go through a list of changes that Christian has of things that we're going to be looking for approval on. But we wanted to make sure that we kind of talked about what type of activities have already been contracted and are going to be taking place over the spring and summer. And then what other opportunities we've kind of already begun the process of asking Bacon for pricing on. And then what items that Christian has tonight. So I'm going to stop sharing, but I will go through a list of items. If I could. So some of the items that we want to bring up as far as items that have come up as part of something that we might want to pursue and have Bacon take care of is adding some film on some of the clear story windows in the classrooms to prevent the glare on the whiteboard, so that you can use the projectors more effectively. But this is one of those items that if we need to move forward with it, so we'll issue a proposal request. And once we get that number, we want to, we need to pull the trigger whether we're going to do it or not do it. If we don't do it, certainly, again, you could do it later, but we have to draw that line with Bacon. Another item that's come up recently is snow guards, providing some additional snow guards on the roof. So that's being reviewed and looked at. There were some questions that Wayne had that have been directed and forwarded to the roofing contractor. They've responded to one of the questions. Basically, did you screw these things in through the new metal roof? And the answer was no, which is good. They were clamped to the vertical ribs on the roof. But might be a need for some additional, so we're looking into that, and we're going to try and get some pricing before you at probably the next meeting. Additional parking spaces. Parking has been tough on the project, so we have gotten a proposal from the design team to design some additional parking spaces. Right now, Fuss and O'Neill is working through and making sure there won't be any impact to their site plan approval, and that would be okay to add spaces. Once that's approved, the design is finalized, we'll get that into Bacon as quickly as we can so they can give us a price, and hopefully that work could be done as soon as the kids get out of school. There was discussion about how the building was going to be used and how the back fire lane was going to be used, and whether buses were going to be using that fire lane. And so a question came up of whether there should be an added guardrail installed at the behind the A wing, kind of in that northwest corner. We do have a price for it, but there was a question of whether that would really negatively impact the fire department getting through there. So we just need to finalize that. I think, Wayne, you were going to have them go take a dry run and see what they thought as far as spacing wise, because space is limited there. So that's another item. There was talk of extending the Raptor system into the C building admin area. I'm not sure what's involved in that. Hopefully it's just getting a price, they bring the equipment and it's plug and play, but that's more on a very specific piece of equipment, technical side, so I don't know. Also don't know what the lead time is on something like that. We have security cameras, connection to the fire department. We own, or the police department, we own that within our base contract, but there are some other issues within the district's network. And that would mean bringing on probably a consultant to provide some technical guidance. I think it's something that's beyond the capabilities of your the consultants that you have as far as working through the school department. And then whether there's anything, there was a discussion way back, but it hasn't really been discussed recently, but about doing some additional work to upgrade or make some improvements to the practice field across from the football field on the east side of the access drive. So those are some of the items that potentially could be added in. But we're trying to kind of get a comprehensive list so we can kind of draw that line. Some work that's still going to be ongoing. We have some work with the windows and some screens that we need to get the contractor finished up on. There was a question about canopies out front and around the building, whether they're draining properly and whether that's becoming a problem. And one of our thoughts was, at least so far, has been to watch that and monitor that and make sure that it isn't. And if we do find that it has been a problem, make some suggestions for modification. There's some lighting controls that still need to take place. The contractor is waiting for some parts. I think he will find that the building isn't lit up like a Christmas tree every night, but there's still work to be done. HVAC controls, it's always something that is one of the last things being done on a project is fine tuning the heating and air conditioning. So we're in heating mode. So obviously they're working on heating, and I think we're doing pretty good per the commissioning agent's discussion at today's job meeting. He thought that it was substantially complete. There are some minor things that they're working on, but they will also come out as the weather changes so we can verify that the air conditioning systems are functioning properly. The playground work that I think you're all familiar with, that we needed to add some drainage that may be done this spring, and then completion of the playgrounds this summer. Some additional planting and landscaping. Again, some stones base at the signage need to get finished up. Completion of the Conservation Commission replication area that needs to get addressed to make sure that we have growth, the proper growth, so that can be signed off by the landscape architect and by Conscom. There was an eye wash in the nurse's office, so that work has been approved, but it just hasn't been done yet. The third floor in A wing, a railing, we're removing the railing and adding in basically a storefront system or a curtain wall system in that area. So that is being engineered. They've already ordered some of the material, but they're just engineering it, and hopefully that'll be done either. Maybe they could even start it over the April break, but it most likely be over the summer. There's some radiator covers and just connect covers that need to be more of a permanent solution in the classrooms. And then in all the classrooms, there's the diffuser ductwork that needs to get enclosed and covered. That alone is something that if we gave them approval in the next 2 weeks, it takes 12 weeks to order the material or to get the material fabricated, and another month and a half to put it in. So that brings us to mid-August. So you can see we're right up against the school year. So we need to get all these things pushed through. Whether decisions made, whether we're going to do them or not do them, get the pricing that we need. Also, as far as schedule, we are kind of tracking with our project schedule. We always anticipated that the project would run. We'd be occupying the school in the fall, and that we would do closeout punch list through the end of the year. Again, there are some scopes of work that aren't done, but we've always anticipated that the closeout would take at least a year. The commissioning agent is required to come back 10 months after occupancy just to go through and make sure everything is still working. So we can't close out the project with the MSBA for at least a year after occupancy. So big picture is we're still tracking on target for closing out the project for this summer. Look to get into the audit process with the MSBA, maybe late summer or fall, and then close out the project with the MSBA, maybe late fall. Any questions about any of this? I know it's a lot of information, but really just want to make sure that if there's items that the group feels we should pursue that it weren't on the list, we should really, it's kind of speak now or forever hold your peace kind of thing.
Wayne, Tim, Wayne Anderson supposedly submitted a request for a project to turn the street lights 90 degrees.
Originally, yes.
Where is that? Or did it go away?
Basically, it went away. It was determined that those were damaged due to trucks kind of going outside the typical travel path to get around equipment and different things. And it was determined that that really isn't something that is required to be done. Is that accurate, Wayne?
Yes. Okay, then I believe you mentioned something about repair parts for the two broken streetlights.
Yeah, those will be repaired if they haven't been already.
No, they haven't. So
Yeah, so Griffin Electric, I think, has that on their radar. I think we have the parts. It's just a matter of getting them
They've
out.
been replaced already.
oh, they have.
been?
They have, yes.
Oh, okay. Must have been just recently done.
Yeah, month, 3 weeks.
I'm gonna double check on that one.
Okay.
Because I go there every Sunday and I swear they were still hanging, so. But I'll double check.
Let us know if they still are.
Tim, it's
That's all I have.
Christina. The anti-glare film for the windows in the classroom, so the sun doesn't white out the whiteboard as we're using them. Is that the little window that has no shade? Perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there is a sample of a film, but the film can come in all sorts of different tints and darkness levels. So it's just a matter of picking out the right one, getting it priced, and then scheduling the work. We were talking about it today at our job meeting. Bacon would rather give it to their glass and glazing contractor versus their window contractor, as long as it doesn't impact their warranty. I think they could maybe provide it more quickly. But I just don't know what the lead time is on that type of material. We originally called for something on those windows, and then that became a problem because it was no longer being manufactured. So just one of those things that until we really get it priced, we don't really know what the lead time is.
Tim, you brought up a lot of stuff there. Is there anything that we need to move on? Is this body needs to move on? And what needs to happen to make us move on that?
Yeah, so Christian is going to go through a list of things for this evening. And if really it was to provide you guys with a list of things that we're kind of working on that you may be wondering, is this ever going to happen? Well, that's the list, so to speak. So if there wasn't something that I talked about that you'd like to see added to the project, that's what I would need to find out from you guys so that we can get it going. Otherwise, like I said, certainly you could do it yourselves. There is surplus funds at this point, and it would just mean that it's going outside of the MSBA and Bacon. At this point, all changes are basically 100% on the district anyway. So there's no benefit to going through the MSBA process.
Okay.
Why don't we go to Christian, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah. So
He has a PowerPoint, so you can share with him. He can bring it up.
awesome. Let's move on to the architects then. Well, proposed additional work is what this is, right?
Yeah, his will be change orders and vote to change orders. So he's got, go ahead. If you can bring it up, I think it'll be self-explanatory.
Sure. So yeah, a lot of this Tim already covered. and I'll be sure to distribute this this presentation to the whole building committee, because I think it might be easier to have it in your hands after the meeting. But as Tim said, if there's anything missing, let us know. So really, upon recommendation from Colliers, we tried to break out kind of the scope that's still outstanding into these following categories. Base contract work that's outstanding, items that have already been priced and approved but are not yet complete, items that are priced for approval, and that's what we'll be looking for approval tonight, things that are out for pricing, and then scope not yet defined. And a lot of this came to a head at the meeting we had today, and so we apologize for not getting this out to you earlier, but this was really kind of a quick effort between this morning and our meeting this afternoon to try and get this all together in a somewhat self-explanatory format. So Tim and Matt certainly jump in here, but I think Tim's covered most of these. I guess I'll just go through some of the generals. This punch list at the top, we just wanted to report on how that's going in general. So we had about 3,000 items on it. Of those, only 112 are outstanding right now. So it has been a good process with Bacon and the subs going through that. Lengthy, and it's required a lot of site visits, but at least it's getting done. Rental covers, Tim discussed, about half are done, half are not. Landscaping, again, we're all aware of the April break and summer break push. Windows has been an issue, both in terms of functionality of those windows, how hard they are to open, as well as missing screens. We're working on that with Bacon and with the filed subcontractor. Lighting controls we discussed, mostly complete. There are some issues with the Panic hardware. Dorma Kaba is the door hardware consultant and supplier, and they're getting replacement parts. There's still some questions on keying and door hardware, and Wayne and the district and Dorma Kaba have been working through that together.
They have everything they need, Christian.
At this point? Great.
Yes, they've had everything they need for probably a month now.
Was there an issue on the boards or padlocks, Wayne?
Nobody is talking to me, so
Okay.
I can't resolve issues that I don't know.
Yeah. No, me either. Okay, great.
Kristen, when you talk about that, are you referring to the front doors and those entry side doors as you walk into the main part of the building?
That's the Panic hardware.
Okay.
I understand it. Yeah.
Okay.
The security system, there's supposed to be some work done at the police department so that they can remotely monitor the cameras at the school. And I think that's still waiting on district and town IT to coordinate with Griffin on that. Another one at the bottom here is chips, and this one's important because it is tied to 2% of the MSBA reimbursement. We've still not submitted our final design review, which probably should have happened a while ago, nor our construction review. And so we still need some documentation for 3 prerequisites for the design review, and then 2 credits for the construction review, and we can start wrapping up that process.
Yeah, that one, Christian, could have just a financial impact in that it may be required in order to close out the project with the MSBA. So if we surpass the 95% of the total grant, the MSBA starts holding reimbursement until the final audit. So if this is a prerequisite to be done prior to the audit, this could delay the final 5% or whatever portion is waiting for reimbursement. So it could have a significant financial impact.
They'll be able to focus on that, on the chip stuff, and instead of focusing on snow guards and what have you, and dealing with other project related issues that I shouldn't be dealing with.
Yeah, I understand, Wayne. There's a lot to do. I get it. It's just wanted.
You don't want to go there, Tim.
I just
Okay.
want to make sure you understand
I understand,
the impact.
I
Well,
understand,
not-
Tim.
You may understand, but we want to make sure everybody else understands that.
Fine.
Christian, what are rental covers?
So they're an exposed kind of baseboard heating element.
Oh, I got it.
And the heating elements themselves are in, but there's some covers of kind of where all the connections happen. And they were kind of done temporarily when the students moved in, tried to make them as safe as possible, but they did not look fantastic, I'll say. And so Adams Plumbing and Heating is coming back and doing a better job of a final installation of those.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. So these are just some PCOs that we're still tracking. And I think there's probably more to add to this list that are more minor in nature, but we wanted to put a few on here. Slide drainage that's been approved previously, education display sign, the nurse faucet we've talked about, some more drainage at the tricycle track. As Tim mentioned, replacing the A-wing glass rail with a taller storefront system. And adding film to the art display cabinets. So
That's
all of them-
completed.
That is completed, that last one, Wayne?
Yep.
Great,
Ago or yesterday. I don't know.
okay,
No, it's 2 days ago.
great. So most of those are in Bacon's Court and are humming along. I don't think there's any super concerns there. We did try and review the storefront shop drawings very quickly for the storefront at the A-wings. We knew that was going to be quite a long lead time. And that's back in the contractor's court. These are the new PCOs that have come through, and a lot of these came in at the very last moment, as they tend to do. So again, I apologize for not getting these out earlier. We have a PCO 354 for $38,238. This was for elevator operators used during August for furniture delivery when the elevators were not certified yet. PCO 399 is for new card readers and push buttons at shipping, receiving, and at kitchen. And this is basically so that deliveries will have an easier time of going right through shipping, receiving, through the hallway into the kitchen, and to do so in a secure manner. So that change would be $11,384. PCO 405 is for new faucets at the trough sinks that are one single component and not as easy to manipulate. That comes in at $29,712. PCO 407 is for a new section of wood wainscot up to 4 foot, maybe it's a 4'8" height at the C-wing, to help prevent damage that was happening to that vinyl graphic down there at the pre-K wing. PCO 417 was a building inspector request to move a heater at stair 1 for $1,054. And so the total for all of those comes to $93,104. And then the last one there was to be included in the commissioning scope of doing blower door testing for the school. And I think we're still awaiting pricing on that. Is that right, Matt?
No, it's 15.8.
15,800.
Yeah.
And should we add that to this price for approval list?
I don't know that it needs approval. It would have been something like all the other testing. Once the contract was signed, it was theoretically approved.
Okay.
Got it.
Essentially, this is testing of pressurizing the building to show what, where there might be leakage. And so that way that can be identified. Just verifying that the building is tight. It would have to be done when the building is empty. You can't be opening and closing doors, obviously. It would take a full day to do that work. It's not done on all projects. I know with, as the commissioning process is getting further and further developed, this is something that is becoming more and more popular, but it isn't always done. So it was something that we really couldn't entertain until the system was functioning properly. And our commissioning agent has let us know that they think the system is at a point where we could do this if it was something that you wanted to do. As a recommendation from the commissioning agent, certainly it isn't required. There is a cost to it. It's, it would just be coming out of our materials testing or testing line item within our budget.
All right.
Any questions on these other PCOs?
Are you looking for approval of a change order for this, Christian?
That would be great, please.
May I ask a question, please?
Of course.
Who selected the faucets that the children destroyed that we're now being asked to pay to replace?
Yeah, so it was a recommendation from Sloan. They've used them in other school projects before. But it certainly was not to the level that we had hoped. So the idea is that, yes, there's probably some amount of upcharge here, but if these had been included in the original bid documents, that would have, been roughly represented by this change in price.
Just seems to me like someone else should be sharing in the cost of something that we didn't cause to happen.
Yeah, I can look into that, Bob, and certainly we're willing to push back with Sloan again. We've had a lot of emails back and forth with them. We've not been happy about this situation either. Their claim is that it has been used in schools before and that this is kind of unexpected damage, and so then that becomes a little bit trickier to.
What schools? I'll call them.
I don't know, Mark. That's a great question.
I think that's a question that I'd want to ask. And so if they say that they're in schools, I'd want to call one of those schools and find out, because this to me was ridiculous. Like the little kids, and they just turn it. I mean, it was crazy. So yeah, ask what schools. Be happy to call and find out how they're working out.
You want to put a hold on that one?
Nope. I think I'm not suggesting that. I think we need to fight the fights. But I think we need to approve the order.
I would agree with that, Mr. Chairman. I feel like, as a member of the committee that is not involved in regular ongoing meetings, I don't often get the whole picture. So I wanted to throw it out there just to say it's something I'm concerned about. And if those that are involved in the negotiation feel that there's some give from all of the parties, I'm on board with it. I will approve, or I will vote to approve, just knowing that you guys are doing your job.
Yep. I appreciate that, Mr. Hankinson. And to be clear, there's a couple things that I think we need to fight about. I was not pleased with the fact that we had a test for mold when it was because there was no mold found. To be very clear, in an open meeting, no mold was found. We had it all tested, but that was because a window was broken and not fixed. As well as an elbow blew, on a brand new school from a thing, and then it wasn't cleaned properly. That had nothing to do with the district or what the district did. So I was a little bit frustrated that we had to then go through this big process because I wanted everyone to know that things would be safe. I was a little frustrated that we had to go to that level because it wasn't fixed in the first place. So I think there will be fights along the way, Bob. So thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns about these PCOs? Do I hear a motion to approve the $93,104 for these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PCOs?
So move.
Thank you, Bob. Do I hear a
I'll
second? Thank you, Ms. Blavin. Any discussion on the motion?
Just for clarification, so the blower door testing isn't a part of this approval, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, let's put the matter to a roll call vote. Dr. Hammond?
Mark Hawk,
Yes.
Dr. Pellegrino,
Yes.
Wayne Anderson,
Yes.
Earl Martin,
Yes.
Kathy Gogan,
Yes.
Jennifer Plavin,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Ron Cormier,
Yes.
Christina Thomas.
Yes.
Ashley is not here yet. She didn't attend. I haven't seen her. Robert Hankinson
Yes.
and Josh Cormier.
Yes.
It's approved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much.
Great. I just have a
Go
few. Sorry.
That's all right, Christian. I was going to ask if there was anything else, so you're all good to go.
Here we go. So just a couple more slides. So just another category out there is issues that are out for pricing. And so Wayne has provided some input on additional snow guards, which was much appreciated. He also had a number of questions on the installation of the current snow guards, which were all, I thought, good. We've passed those on to Bacon. They have passed those on to their filed subcontractor, Greenwood, and is awaiting answers. And we will continue to push for answers on those. The tackable diffuser panels, we've talked about those before. Again, that's to cover the ductwork above the diffuser panels. And that is also back in Bacon's court. There were a few revisions and some updated details, but they are getting pricing. And as Tim mentioned, that's a long lead time, but we're still waiting on the final pricing. from
So
them.
just to give everybody a sense of the dollar value on that, when we went to them before with the previous iteration, the pricing came in at 128,000, plus or minus a little bit. So there's been some back and forth. We anticipate the price to go up. We just don't know how much at this point.
Yeah, I think relatively minor, but yes, it probably will go up. And I think we have discussed that a few months ago, but good to revisit. And then this is,
Can you go back, Christian?
yeah, of course.
Just so everybody knows, the snow guards are for an unforeseen situation where we have, probably by the end of this week, we'll have 10 feet of snow in front of windows on the first floor, on the north side of the A building and the C building, north side of C building, which is, and then there's some snow falling on the sidewalk on the front side of C building, which would be the south side. They're just trying to not have this 10 feet of snow in front of the windows. It'll be over the windows, I'm assuming, by the end of the storm. Thank you.
Yeah. For scope, not yet defined, these are kind of the ones that are a little bit outstanding. And I think this is the area where, we were especially interested to see if there were other items that we should add to this list. So additional parking, Fuss and O'Neill is looking at that, creating additional parking as Tim mentioned. The guardrail, again, we've talked about trying to wrap that up soon. It does, it will impede the width of the fire lane a little bit, so that's the trade-off. So we just need to evaluate that. The Raptor security system that Tim talked about, that's basically for visitors and badges and security checks, bringing that also to the C wing. We've been informed that there might be some more push button door operators requested by the district, maybe at the cafeteria. But I think we're still waiting to understand the scope before formalizing that into a PCO. There's still some discussions on the rubber mulch and installation of port in place rubber. and that scope coming up in the spring. That solar
That
glare.
one, Christian, because it was temporary rubber mulch. And then we're gonna install the port in place this summer.
Correct, but I don't think we've gotten a formal PCO on what to do with the temporary rubber mulch. Is that?
Yeah.
Match your recollection as well?
You guys don't want to use it underneath the swing sets. So we'll have to find a home for it. So, yep, makes sense.
Great. I think I agree, Wayne. I think that's the only part of that issue that's outstanding. The rest is pretty dialed in. The solar glare at the high classroom windows, like you were asking about, Christina, so that's there. The field at Catherine Street, this one was one that's just kind of dropped off the radar, unfortunately. So we issued a proposal request number 80 long ago. Bacon reached out to their subcontractors, did not have any word back. Got some names from Wayne. I think they have reached out to those local firms as well, and again, received no responses. And so my understanding is that Bacon just kind of let it go away and they weren't really pushed on it. So I think we still need to figure out if that's still a priority, and if so, coming up with potentially other subcontractors that might be willing to do that work. And then finally, the canopy drainage, and especially at the B wing front canopy, there is a line that drips, and so we're discussing that with the vendor on fixes for that. That's kind of an unforeseen condition on their part, that water's coming off that where we have the angle on the south side of that B wing canopy.
Also have the water draining onto the sidewalks too, on the canopies. Is that part of that?
Yeah,
Much bigger issue than, I'll send you the video from the C wing.
Because it just freezes and creates a safety hazard.
Okay. The C wing canopy in particular.
It's right at the crosswalk.
We basically talked about all the canopies.
Yeah. Because it was definitely it became a hazard, because when it's raining, then that water just turns to ice. It was significant.
Yeah. Okay. Great. We'll add that one to the list.
I'm sure they'd work great in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I think that's it for that list, but again, we'll pass out this this PowerPoint to the building committee so you can review these items, and then also if there are other, especially on this page in particular on scope not yet defined. I think as Tim just mentioned towards the beginning, that the sooner we can kind of finalize that list and chase these last issues down with Bacon, the better for the whole process.
I'll send this out right after the meeting.
Thanks, Steve.
Christian, I hate to interrupt, it's Christina.
It's okay.
In like the kindergarten rooms, there's the low sink, and I noticed when plumbers did work, they didn't put back up the slant plate underneath. I had mentioned it a few times early on. Just wondering if that's something on the docket that's going to be finished later.
Punch list.
Punch list.
It's on the punch list?
Probably not, because it was something that was done after the fact. Depends when they did the punch list versus doing the work. It's just something Bacon's gonna have to put back. I mean,
Also an
somebody
issue
else
with
can put
them.
it back. I mean,
Tina, do you know the extent or the scope of where that has happened offhand?
Well, I know in kindergarten, second floor. My room was one. Then there was another. I'm
Okay.
not sure of the room numbers.
Okay, great.
They're held in, Christian. The kids can easily pop them out. So we've been going through and putting L brackets in. So they don't, we've been blind fastening so they don't, because all they do is this, they're hanging in there by gravity.
Right, they're slid in there.
Yeah.
So that's a separate issue, Wayne? Or do you think that in the installation of those L brackets, some of them were not reinstalled, or do you think that's a separate issue?
I don't know, is yours missing or is it?
Wayne, my panel is there.
Okay,
It's just kind of hanging tipped.
okay. Yeah, that's the L bracket issue. It seats in there, but if you look at it, if you breathe on it, it falls off. You hit it with your leg, it's gonna come up.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's slanted, it makes it that much easier.
Wayne, on the rubber mulch, maybe you can talk to Dan Forte and spread that on one or two of the city playgrounds. Might
Yeah,
be
that'd
used.
be a DPW thing, but we can, I'm sure Mark, Mr. Hawk can talk to the mayor. And see if he wants it.
Yep, thank
Or maybe
you.
maybe we'll just deliver it there.
Yeah,
They like giving us gifts too, so we'll give them a gift.
let them figure out what they'll do with it.
All set, Christian?
All set. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Any old business, new business, or other business to come before the school building committee?
I have some, Mr. Chairman. I met with the mayor on Monday and looking at having a ribbon cutting ceremony and the time capsule. And he would like to looking at June 7th, which is a Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. and thinking that would be less people having to go out on that. And so we'd either have it out front or if it's bad weather in the CAF. So that's the tentative one. I sent stuff out to notify, and Tim sent to MSBA to see if they're available. It's important for them. So we're still waiting to make sure all that that has been placed on the school calendar and the district calendar to behold. So that's when we're planning on that. The second thing is I'll be sending out to different groups about items to put into the time capsule. So we're looking forward to that. So that'll be going out to Earl. You'll get some stuff on that and other people for that. So that's at least in the works. So everybody knows what we're planning to do. And so the mayor will be the master of ceremonies.
Sounds excellent.
And
So anything else?
Yeah, the next thing, Mr. Chairman, I forgot to take out the 15th on the date. We need to look at on the April date. Normally we'd be on the 19th, but I believe that's during vacation week. So I don't think if you wanted to, we could look either at, let's see, we look in April, we could look at the 12th or the 26th. Probably the 26th, maybe the end of the month, more stuff would get done. Any thoughts?
The 26th.
Having it after the break makes sense from the
Okay.
construction side.
April 26th. April 26th. Yeah.
That works.
Okay, that'll be the next meeting. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. There's no need for executive session. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, yes. Mr.
real quick, because I blooped out for a minute or two there. I want to make sure, Dr. Hemmond, did we get that, the mold reparation bill that Dr. Pellegrino was speaking about?
Yes, that was on the to be approved.
Thank you, that's all. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Excellent. Oh, Mr. Rockwood, did you have anything you wanted to say? I forgot public comment.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is long overdue, but I haven't seen Earl at a meeting in a long time. I wanted to thank him for straightening out the direction of travel and getting the traffic off of Pearl Street.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. It was a team effort, Steve, but I appreciate that.
Well, they told me you were the one, so I'm gonna thank you and you can pass that along.
No, I thank you. I appreciate it.
We are watching.
Mr. Martin's still learning to take credit for things. All right, anything else, Ms. Brockwood? Are you all set? All right, I heard a
That's it.
motion.
Thank you.
Very good.
Mr.
I heard a
Chairman,
motion to
before
adjourn.
you take, Mr. Chairman, before you take that,
Yes.
I've been talking to our representative, John Slatnick. It looks like they're going to extend the Zoom, be able to do Zoom meetings. We're waiting for that to pass, and actually looked like it could go to 2025. So I
Right.
think we'll be okay to continue with our Zoom meetings.
Right, and hopefully this project will be done before then. Okay, excellent. I heard a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Thank you very much, everyone. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Appreciate it.